Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us on Untengle. A very special morning to you, Richie B. And Audley, you both have yourselves a wonderful day. And again, thanks to our listeners for joining us. I want to say a very special morning to Team Untangle. My name is Elise, and I start you off at 11 o'clock, and we go straight through until 2 in the afternoon. Here's a quotation that I thought I would share with you as we try so very hard to fight this thing called crime, this monster. And it's a quotation from Oscar, hold on a little bit, Oscar Romero. And Oscar Romero says, I will not tire of declaring that if we really want an effective end to violence, we must remove the violence that lies at the root of all violence. Structural violence, social injustice, exclusion of citizens from the management of the country, repression. All this is what constitutes the primal cause from which the rest flows naturally. So we want to say good afternoon, sisters. How are you both?
Good afternoon. We're great.
Wonderful. Good. Wow, you girls look at you ladies look alike. Good, that's your twin. Oh my goodness. Anyway, welcome to Untangle on the Bridge 99 FM. Wonderful having you. All right.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
All right. To make it a little easier, let me do one at a time. Each question, back to back. So first of all, let us talk to my mother used to tell me, age before beauty. So so let's do it like that here, right? So let's start with Mommy first, all right? So let's talk to Claudia Davis, and Claudia is a real estate consultant and construction project manager. And my question to you, Claudia, is were you always in this business?
No, no. I did the whole corporate thing and the whole, my degree is in human resource management, right? So I did that. And I worked with an insurance company. That was Island Life Insurance Company back in the day. So I did all of that. And then they made me redundant. So in making me redundant, now I had to just get out there and find something else to do. It just so happens that I had bought a piece of land from Housing Agency of Jamaica at the time, used the redundancy money to finish paying for it. And I hired a contractor to do the project. Halfway through the project, he says, Miss Davis, we're going to run out of money, the money that is left. So at the time, the contract was 2.7 million and 700,000 was left on the project. But he was just doing wet work, which is the cement work. Mm-hmm. He said, we're not going to be able to finish. I said, what? I said, no. So I went to the bank, which was First Caribbean at the time. I said, listen, I'm firing the contractor. Give me the 700,000 and I will finish it.
Did you have any experience?
No. I said, but it's me paying back the loan. They kind of resisted. And I said, it's me paying. This was back in 2003. I said, I'm the one paying this loan. Just send the money to my account and I will finish it. Mm-hmm. Well, I did finish it. I worked with the tilers, the masons, the plumbers, the electric, everybody. I just hired them, from people telling me this one good, that one good. Just go around and check and say who you know or who can do what. Mm-hmm. And I did it. So when I realized that I brought the project within the budget and completed, I said, but hold on there. Then I finally started to look at because what happened, you go by what's called a quantity survey report, right? That's what the banks use, and in the industry, that's what we use. So I really started to look closely at this quantity surveyor's report, and I realized that the quantity surveyor made an error. It was a 2-floor house, but he didn't put the middle deck in it, the floor for the upper deck. And that was why the funds were kind of limited for this contractor to finish. Mm-hmm. But the contractor himself didn't look at it. The bank didn't look at it. Nobody looked at it and realized that it was really an error in the numbers, right? So because I actually did the project, finished it, started working with other persons in the industry now, I went on to do other homes, build other homes for myself.
Other homes like whose?
Foray of building these homes for myself now, because now I get into it. At first it started out as a hobby, me just finishing this and whatever, but now I get into it now and I just love working with the men, and usually I'm the only woman on the site anyway.
And you love that.
Queen, if you know what I mean.
Yes, I do know what you mean. So when you say you started working on other homes,
Start working on building other homes for myself, properties for myself.
or for yourself?
Get the land, get the blueprints drawn up, work with the architect, and then go to the bank again, get the loan, and bill again. That's what I did for myself. And I said, but hold on a little bit. We can't do it because I was doing like as a little sideline, because I still had a job. I still had a full-time job, right? Because I was the administrative manager at Premier Waste Management, a garbage company in Kingston.
Mm-hmm.
So I was doing this and I said, but well, Claudia, you're good at this one. Then I read a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that got me more into the real estate. I said, well, but he says real estate agents are, there you need them in this business. And what I said, okay, I'm going to be a real estate agent. So I went and did the course, right? So I went and did the course, passed it, became a real estate agent, started selling. And being a real estate agent now puts me in touch with lands all over the place,
right?
Other people, other persons, and it puts me, of course, in touch with the clients who buy the land, who now want to build. And, they start the building, but again, they have the same problem with the contractors, the builders, the management of the money that they're sending from overseas and so on.
Yes.
I said, Tony, we can bridge this gap though. We can just step in and bridge this. And that's exactly what we did. So Toni went and did plumbing.
Let's talk about that.
Construction. And she went in and did her thing. So we found that as women in the field, it's actually easier for the clients to give us the jobs. I can tell you that.
Let hold that a minute. Just hold that for a second. Hold that a minute. Because we want to bring in your daughter. But before you bring in your daughter, Claudia, one of the things that my producer and I sat down in one of our little meetings and discussed was exactly what you're talking about. Because I was saying to him that having taken a break from what I usually do, and I was doing exactly what you said you were doing, I have learned so much about construction business that I would never have thought about before. The first thing that I've learned is how much of your creativity it demands. And that is wonderful, isn't it?
It does. It pulls on, as a matter of fact, it pulls on everything that I've learned in corporate.
Absolutely.
It's where we have the advantage. So because we did the corporate thing before, and we did the supervisor training and the financial training and all of those things.
Yes.
So when we come on to this side, because I went to Woolmer's, right?
Oh, good school.
And Woolmer's didn't give us trades. Woolmer's gave us academic things.
Absolutely.
So, and I don't know that you can go do a plumbing or you can do electrical or anything like that. Because
but don't just blame Woolmer's. Don't just grammar schools generally.
Grammar schools, right.
Just
so
don't prepare us.
I went to university, did all of that. I'm like, and I actually make more money doing this profession.
Hold on, we not catch the money yet. Make we talk to Toni-ann. So Toni-ann, you are a very feminine looking young lady. Oh, no, seriously no. All right, fine. I understand the real estate sales thing and the experience there. But what inspired you? Don't make us say people toilet.
So what happened was, like mom said, she started building properties for herself. And when that happens, the first thing that gives trouble in a home is plumbing.
Yes.
So you hire plumbers to come in and fix this, fix that. And one day my mom says, someone in our family needs to learn plumbing. And I jumped at the opportunity. I always wanted to work with my hands. Didn't know what I was going to get into, but she said plumbing.
You knew what you were going to get into.
Learned it and I thoroughly loved it.
Really? What? All right, fine. We can talk about the real estate sales thing, but you know that the listeners really want to know about this plumbing. What about plumbing excited you as a woman?
Well, the first thing, the initial onset of it was I like home renovation. Mm-hmm. So when you're looking at new faucets, new bathtubs, new toilets, new tiles, those things are really nice to look at.
Right.
And then I got into the aspect where one day we needed a plumber to fix a face basin. Mm-hmm. This is after I'd taken the plumbing course, but I haven't really done any one-on-one plumbing by myself at this point. And he said, you know what, this plumber is not coming. I'm going to try it myself. Mm-hmm. And I was able to change the faucet on the basin. And I was like, wow, right? It was just this amazing feeling. And when you work as a plumber, one of the greatest rewards in it is helping the client. because they call you on a day where the toilet's clogged, the water tank is leaking, and it's just a really bad day for them. And when you come and fix that problem for them, it's a really good reward. And they're just so happy and so thankful that you came and just solved their problems for them. And I really like that aspect of the job.
Okay, so it obviously whenever somebody calls you, they would have known that you're a woman, right? But on a day when the person don't know that you're a woman and them call a plumber and them see this lovely young lady turn up, what is the initial response?
Shock.
You're gonna plunge the toilet? It's always shock. And then I start to work, to chat me up basically and find out all that.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So give me a little detail now. So when you go, what you have on?
Well, usually jeans and a t-shirt, and then I probably throw on some overalls depending on what I'm doing.
Okay, all right, I got you. All right, fine. So you fix the people them toilet and I'm happy for that. But you know something that I have to say, talking to you ladies, and knowing exactly what I'm going through, because I still going through it. One of the things about a woman is her attention to detail that the man them don't have. Tell me how that help you and also your intuition. So how those things help you as women in a field where sometimes the man them just rough words and them say, yeah, and me done. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, I tell you, as women, we tend to we look at the problem a little deeper.
Yes.
Right? The men will come in and okay, somebody says my water bill is so high and I know his water commission pad up the bill and whatever, you know, and they come and them look and them don't see nothing and them say, boy, I can't find a leak, you know, can't find a leak. But we are a little bit more thorough. We'll go through, check where the lock-offs are, check. We need to isolate this area, isolate. I remember a sprinkler was giving problem. The lady's bill was just so high. And none of the plumbers who went there could fix the problem. It so happens that the person who put in the sprinkler system put different lock-off zones all over, but the plumbers just went to the main, turn off the lock-off, and just say, but we can't find it. But it required more than that. It required some troubleshooting, which I find even the men in trades tend to be, they tend to be a little weak in troubleshooting. I don't know why.
Interesting.
So because we go through the whole thing of usually assembling things, like when we're cooking, we have to have the recipe, we have to know that it's 2 pounds of this and 1 pound of that, and this is what make it up and put it together, and we do a little bit more.
Yes.
With women, our brains tend to not to just jump into the problem. We tend to step back first, analyze the problem, and see this is how it can be solved, or no, better we do that, or better we do that. We tend to do that as well.
And something else to Claudia is that is something I was talking to my colleagues here also. We are so accustomed to working under stress. I mean, as mothers, as you know, we just understand the stress thing. So the things that would stress out a man may or may not necessarily stress us out.
No, and we tend to be multitask. We'll learn that from a little bit. Wash a plate, start the dinner, wash out the table.
For real. All right. Let's move on a little bit now. So my question is, either of you can answer this. When your colleagues, the people who are the men who are in the same business as you, when them see you not just turn up, but turn up and efficient, what is their response? Do you get help, or you know what's the response?
For a while now, you know. So basically, we can now call up. We analyze it, and we can now call a plumber who can be in the business way longer than us. But because we are at this level now, we have pushed ourselves. So you start out in any trade at this level. Right. They might get to the medium level, which is supervisor level. They definitely get to the management level and then the ownership level, right? So we are now at the stage where we're at the ownership level. So we will call the plumber and say, hey, this thing is leaking and it's because the flopper ball is leaking in the toilet. So just change the flopper ball. We don't physically now change a flopper ball or physically change a cartridge in a pipe. but we know that is a cartridge, and we know that is a spindler. We know, you understand? So we kind of just know what it is now. So we can call a plumber, who I will work with lots of them. I say, hey, just go and do this or whatever. Okay. And we do construction from scratch too. Okay. So we kind of know we know what is going to go wrong. And we know a lot of the times too, it's the actual product. So there are some products that will last way longer. So let me give you an example. So you have a Delta faucet, or you have a Seiko, or you have a whatever. The good thing with Seiko is that Seiko have the parts, right? But there are some faucets, pipe fixtures, and so on, that the parts are not available. But guess what? They will last 10, 20 years. But under what condition? In some zones in Jamaica, the sediment in the water is high.
Yes.
But it will suit you to just, if you had just put on a filter.
Yes.
You wouldn't need to call us so often. Yeah.
You see, when we say filter, you know why we get them and say, boy, to me go say filter. And because we know exactly what them talking about because of what I'm actually doing now. But let me ask Toni-ann this, because as I say, we know what I talk about. Let us say you're fixing a bathroom, or you're going to set up a bathroom, and it reaches a point where you're going to put tiles on the wall. And you set to the plumb, and the client says to you, I want that kind of tile. But you kind of know that kind of tile outdated and, whatever. In terms of creativity, do you suggest to the client that, probably a rough tile with a nicer desk because I'm more data go on now over what you kind of want?
Usually we take the client's tile shopping prior to doing the bathroom, so that by the time I get there, we know exactly what tiles we're using because we've taken them tile shopping and they've chosen and paid for the tiles, and the tiles are delivered. So it's usually a process that we do beforehand with them.
Okay.
We watch a lot of HGTV.
That's our main station.
Yeah, we do a lot of interior decorating courses.
Right.
So we have all of that background, which is what makes it better and easier for the clients to give, because we just come not just with this and this and this, but we come with a whole heap behind it.
Right. All right. Let's talk about your vlog, because another way that I have learned a lot is by subscribing to some of these channels that do, as you say, home decoration, home repairs, and I'm finding more and more that the channels that I have subscribed to, the two channels that I have subscribed to, are both female channels, and they just teach me so much. So let's talk about your vlog now, and how accessible is it for the average person?
Well, we're on YouTube, right? So we're on YouTube live on Sundays between 3 and 5 o'clock. And that's where our clients, everybody, our fans, everybody get to ask us questions about money, finance, and real estate. Now, because I bought my first property when I was 23, I've kind of been through the whole landscape of not just selling real estate, but actually owning the real estate and how I managed to own it. So I try to share a lot of that with them, because the average Jamaican tends to think that they cannot buy anywhere. Ms. D, I'm only earning 60,000 a month and I cannot. Some of my best clients came to me with zero. Not a dollar in the bank.
Yeah.
But by the time I took them and said, listen, you ready to do this? Yes, Miss D, I'm ready to do this. Get them through and them sitting pretty in them house. So I tell people, when I was growing up, I had some challenges growing up. My mom went to the States when I was 12 on a one-entry visa. So she wasn't coming back. And by the time I was 15, my father kicked me out of the house. So I did the bouncing around. And I always wanted to have more than one bed, because there were some nights that I just had to be on the floor because I was bouncing around here and there with other persons. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I said to myself, I have to own a property. So when I had Toni-ann at 17 years old, and same thing, landlord raising the rent, I want you out or whatever. I said, no, I have to buy a place. And I actually bought the place. No, I bought this place. Another story, because I same thing. I never qualify. NHT turned me down. I don't have enough points. JN, Victoria Mutual, them turned me down. I not qualify. I'm not earning enough money. But what persons don't understand in life is that if you put your foot out there, if you say to the universe, this is what I want, the universe opens up, sends people to help you and helps you. You just have to get yourself to the wall. Once you're at the wall, the universe will help you to get over the wall.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Get ourselves to the wall.
Yes, man.
At the gate because we're saying, no, I don't have enough money. No, this little bit of job I may have. I may have too much kids. I may not have the education. And I may not have a big job. All kinds of things.
But, you know, I don't want to speak specifically to women, but I want to speak specifically to women. And one thing that I have learned is that, you see like us, the man them no stop laugh off of my to-do list. But you see my to-do list, me no stop tick and cross out and tick and cross out because that's just who we are as women. So we stick to it and the money might a little bit, but may I tell you, say, Claudia, talk to them again about how the universe support we.
Yes, it supports you. And we did goal setting on YouTube Live on Sunday. And I have to be telling, I said, listen, you have to write down, I learned this from Zig Ziglar, famous motivational speaker, right? You have to write it down. You have to find the people who will help you.
Yes.
You have that. But if you just sit down in your little house and say, boy, I can't buy a house, you know. But you not even say it to your neighbor, say you want to buy a house. You don't say it.
Which was the introduction for the channel. We wanted to be able to reach more people that needed this information rather than just talking to us on the telephone.
Right.
So we created the channel to just provide information for anyone out there in Jamaica, overseas, that's just trying to find information about construction or purchasing property in Jamaica. They can do a simple Google search and we'll come up and we can be able to help them.
Right. That was Toni-ann.
All right.
Because I actually didn't in front of the camera.
All right. Last question as we run out of time. One of my observations throughout this whole COVID thing, right, is that when I was doing my billing, I'm still doing it, but there were times when the only people that I saw on the road were tradesmen because they were never out of a job. And I said that we have to discuss this in a space where everybody wants to turn singer and DJ. Why are we not encouraging these young people to do a trade? One trade man said to me while he was doing where man do bossy, you know, man. Bossy, and him have him things, you know, man. And him say, Mom, good trade man, never out of work. And it's true. So let us talk about how lucrative this business is.
I had to wait on masons, literally wait on electricians. One of the problems in Jamaica, and I say this everywhere, is our school system. Our school system needs to change. In other words, the grammar schools need to add trades.
Yes.
So like we went to Hart. I went to Hart and did level 1 and 2. I only paid $10,000, everybody. Toni-ann went to Hart and did level 1 and 2 plumbing, only paid $10,000.
Yes.
Which school can you go to
and
pay 10,000 Jamaican dollars for 6 months to 9 months and learn a trade? The first job you get back the money. Yeah. Right?
I love that.
Look, I mean, if you call us to plunge a toilet, we said to you, lady, to plunge a toilet, you know, we're going to charge you $10,000. Are you sure you want us to come and plunge a toilet? Right? No, the thing is, our school system needs to understand that some persons can work with their hands and we can work with our brains just as well. But what happens is that we have separated the kids. We have said, listen, you pass this exam, you go grammar school. You don't pass, you go and go do in this school, or we give you some little hands-on and some little things where you can do like a mechanic and like no. So you have separated the brains from the hands-on.
Absolutely. And absolutely. And creativity from the brain.
So we, on our own Jamaica, we are the ones who have brought it to this level. And I wish that the Jamaican government would realize this. Something like a level 1 plumbing and a level 1 electrician can be in schools.
Yes, absolutely.
So that by the time the child reaches 16 or 18 or whichever age we're saying, this is the end of the school period, you would have had your skill, your trade, and we keep doing dressmaking, And these little, I'm saying, show me, who on earth is doing that in this day and age, really?
Okay, all right, we have to finish. But before we finish, there's another thing that I realize, and is that the builder may not be the person who have the creative touch. He might be an excellent builder and him build it to scale perfectly. But in terms of that little extra oomph, that little extra thing, what go on in a house you know, he might not know. So that opens up another area for somebody who is creative at that level. Anyway.
Again, because they have separated the brains from the brain.
Absolutely. Anyway, I got to go, but I cannot go without saying happy belated birthday because I don't know when my producer would I do. So happy belated birthday to you, Claudia, and enjoy enjoy the whole of your month. And look here, have fun, ladies, have fun.
Oh, yes, we do. We do have fun. We work with men in us, so we have fun.
There you go. I love that. I love that. All right. So, wow. I mean, this is the first. The conversation goes so far past 12:30, and producer don't say nothing over there. They will laugh and and shake and carry on. Anyway, lovely talking to you, ladies, and I'm sure this conversation has been quite an inspiration for others who want to step into this business with all our feminine energy.
Thanks, I want the ladies to step out. Those are not engaged in anything now. Just walk into the nearest art school and choose the trades, right? Mm-hmm. Choose trades. Don't choose those other things that, I mean, the first job you get, you'll be surprised. You're going to love it.
Choose trade. Choose trade.
You have to wait for 30 days.
Gotta go. But we'll leave with that. Choose trade. And that's exactly what our mission was in inviting these ladies here on Untengle. We were saying there are other opportunities, there are other fields, there are other jobs that you can do, and one of the jobs that you should choose is to choose trade. Wonderful. We're going to take a commercial break. We'll soon come back. Can I tell you something? This interview is more, necessary than you can even think about. Trust me. Because just like what those two sisters were saying, there is so much that we do daily as women that we can bring into the space, some of these male-dominated spaces. And there are some of these gentlemen who actually appreciate it. There are times when, like I would, call the plumber. And the questions that I'm asking the plumber is like, him never think about none of that. But then asking him these questions and then him with the knowledge and the combination of both energies, it is a wonderful thing. So for people who want to do something different or thinking of something different, we're going to be opening up all different kinds of areas and possibilities. And we spoke to the veterinary scientist last week, and that's one possibility. Vaughn, you should have heard how much people call me, and not call me, but spoke to me on the road and saying that they found that vet so interesting, and that's one thing. And then we just spoke to people in the construction industry, that's women and men. So let us broaden our horizons. Let us think outside the box, because we just got to. I have some quotations for you, because it's very important that we share some of these thoughts with our listeners as we tackle this problem called crime. Television and radio violence was considered by most experts of minimal importance as a contributory cause of youthful killing. Television and radio violence, and may I add music, was considered by most experts of minimal importance as a contributory cause of youthful killing. There were always enough experts to assure the public that crime and violence had nothing to do with crime and violence. That makes sense? It really doesn't. So as we try to exclude ourselves from crime and violence, let us include ourselves, because as the experts wrongly said, crime and violence will always have something to do with crime and violence, no matter where it is. So if you're expressing violently in the home, stop it. If you're expressing violently in the schoolroom, as teachers, students, stop it. If you're expressing violently in the media, stop it. Wherever you are expressing violence, it is a contributory factor to crime and violence. We have live online none other than the Earth Woman. So good afternoon, my sister.
Good afternoon, Sister Elise Kelly.
How are you? How are you?
I am great, you know.
Wonderful. All right. Yeah. Welcome to Untengle on the Bridge 99
Yes.
FM.
Yes, give thanks, you know.
And for those who not sure who Cherry Natural is, because here what go on now. On the internet, and our Irish Jam listeners are listening, and as we speak, we're streaming live to the tri-state area. So briefly, for those who are listening all over the world, just tell them who Sister Cherry Natural is. Who are you?
Well, Cherry Natural is a revolutionary poet, and because I talk with it on my mind, I went and studied martial arts. You understand? Yes, because, you know, you have to be practical. You understand? You can't chat certain things and then can't fight. So that is what I did.
I love that. So you are a poet and also a martial artist, all right? So
Yes.
all right. So we're going to take a commercial break at 1:20, but we still want to hear some more of this. So we use a little time if we talk about martial arts. I know that you're
Yes.
very concerned about women and the safety of women. And what would be your martial arts trick or martial art advice for women particularly who are being abused by someone on the street or someone in them yard?
All right. Here what happened. To be honest, you see the street and the yard is two different psychology, because sometimes the one in your yard, you know them. And it's hard for you to really fight back unless you have this deep sense of self. Self-love is self-defense. So if someone hurting you, the first thing you're going to do is try to protect yourself, because the law of nature is self-preservation. But sometimes the psychology is different, because, you know, you don't want, especially women. Women tend to not want to really hurt someone them know, even if they are being hurt, you know.
Yeah.
On the street now, yeah, man, we check out anything. So here what happened now, the street is situation awareness. That's the first thing. And you have to realize that anything you have on you can be a weapon. Anything you have on you can be a weapon. Even some dirt can show in the eyes. And another thing is that the eyes are the most sensitive part on the body. So that is the thing now, you know. I want to tell you, say, if a lot of women were fighting back, I'm talking about self-defense, you know. I'm not talking about going out there and fight. I'm talking about protecting yourself. If a lot of women were fighting back and using that eye technique, a pure blind people that see a walk up on them.
Cherry Natural. Boy, you know, you said something a while ago that is so very key. You said self-love is self-defense. And we think about self-love and in the right way, in the sense that we're protecting ourselves and we're taking care of ourselves. But sometimes we're not thinking about the fact that in part of self-love is actually defending yourself. So we, definitely. So we just want to say enough respect for that.
Lick hot, you know, Sister Elise.
But you know, you look out for two. But you talk about the two being different. The kind of defense that you have in your home, different from the kind of defense that you have on the road. But in your home, tell us a little, because a lot of abuse happens in the home, probably more than on the road.
Yes, that is true. And sometimes majority of the abuse happen with people you know, even if it's not on the road, your neighbor, you understand, family, friends, and things like that. What personally you have to do is you have to learn not to let down your guard. You understand? Because that is one of the tricks in the home now. This is the people in the home are who you know. You always let down your guard with them. And the intuition, follow your gut feelings. Them call it intuition. From something sense like it's not right, work with it, because your intuition is your internal security guard, you know?
Right. And there's a poem that you did, and I love that poem so much. We're going to actually take a break, and then when we come forward, we're going to come forward with that poem. And it's actually a poem called Fight Back, where you say to women, abuse, physical or any other kind of abuse in the home is not foreplay. So let us not get this twisted. So we're going to take a break, and then when we come forward now, we're going to talk poetry. All right? So if you've just joined us, we have as our very special guest none other than Sister Cherry Natural. And we are now connected to Beauregard and the Irie Jam listeners. Good afternoon, Beauregard.
Good afternoon, Mama Kelly. How are you today?
I am very well. So we're talking to Sister Cherry Natural. And Sister Cherry Natural, you will hear that my colleague Beauregard, who is actually in New York, he's on the Irie Jam. We're streaming live, and he will come in from time to time as he sees fit. All right, Beauregard?
No problem.
Yes, no problem. Good afternoon, Sister Cherry Natural.
Yes, good afternoon, Beauregard. I like your name.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You remember now, Beauregard. don't say thank you yet. Anyway, all right. So, Sister Cherry Natural, you started writing and performing poetry from as early as 1979, and you continue to do so in 2021. Who or what was your early inspiration in writing poetry?
It's Louise Bennett, Miss Louise Coverly Bennett, and Miss Louise Bennett Coverly, and Bob Marley, you know. So Bob Marley, when I was a little girl, the lyrics of Bob Marley song I used to pay keen attention to. So I did kind of get the vibes there. He's a poet until I hear people start calling him a poet. And this Louise Bennett, how she kind of challenged the system with, you know, speaking the way she wants to speak, our Jamaican vernacular. And, you know, she brave and bold with it. So she was my inspiration, you know.
Absolutely. And so say so many of us. So that was the early days. So what continues to inspire you? Because your poems are as relevant as the dancehall.
Boy, Sister Elise, let me tell you something. I don't know how many, especially as a woman in Jamaica, I don't know how many persons could have do this in terms of continue to write and be relevant. Because it's not really by accident, you know. I make it my point of duty because sometimes, you know, to whom much is given, much is expected. I get enough words, whole heap of words, and I just put them together and inspire people. And I can tell you that there's a lot of persons where it kind of make me feel good in terms of when them say, you know, your poems inspire me, even inspire other poets to write. Maybe they might not say it, but, you know, we teach them the techniques of writing and inspire them and things like that. I was listening to you earlier saying that you must honor the people who was here before you understand, or who used to do the thing, you know, from way back when, because if it wasn't because of them, sometimes maybe you couldn't even come on a chat to bold neither.
Absolutely. And you know something, sis, we have a way of being shy about giving respect where it due, especially us here in Jamaica. And may I suggest that you must not just give it where it due if you ball it out.
No, but especially me as a woman. Remember me tell you that, hey, Sister Ellie, enough of the man them where you hear a lot of them and them people big them up. Them can't even test me on a stage. But me not get the respect when me supposed to get. Me I tell you, Sister Ellie, my circle is huge, you know.
You look here. You're not convincing
Huge,
me.
you know.
You think you're convincing me? I think you can't convince me. Look here. And by the way, that jingle that you hear every day on my program, it's Cherry Natural. And one of the first people me asked for a jingle was Cherry Natural, because I know the clothes where she have. And I know the clothes where she have in the street, not only just as a woman, you know, but as a chicken like myself here. So when you're out there as a woman and as a big woman and getting that respect, it's something for pay homage to. So the name Bad Poet, you know, I know it don't mean what the man them on the street think it mean. Because every time we say Bad Poet, the man them yes, but I don't think it mean what them think it mean. What it mean?
Bad is an acronym. It's an acronym for meaning brave and different. Because my thing is, me not really try to follow anybody. Me come up with acronyms. Me create a whole heap of new type of way of doing things. You understand? So me create that now and say, instead of people always have said on the street, say you're a bad poet. Me say, how can I balance it now? So I just come up with bad, meaning brave and different.
Okay, I'm glad you cleared up that, because there are a lot of people who keep on saying you're a bad poet and them don't get what that bad means. So your poems, right? Though they're all different, they can be considered to have a feminine twist, and you're
Yes.
always speaking on behalf of the sisters. Would you
Yes.
consider yourself to be a feminist?
Well, here what happened now, the word feminist has changed its meaning in many different ways. So there was, back in the days, when I would have said, boy, yes, I'm a feminine and a feminist and thing, and people would call it that. But no, I don't even give myself no label. I just say that, I am a person who is a revolutionary, and I personally believe that if we want to create change, educate and empower the sisters.
Absolutely.
Educate and may I tell you, if you want to cut the jacket population, educate and empower our sisters.
The what population?
The jacket.
You mean man I get jacket?
Yes.
So
yes.
how that would have helped the man them from
No,
stop get
because
jacket?
a woman who values herself
Yes.
will never go and just lie down with somebody and know they can bring a child. Education and liberation and self-love, man.
I hear
You
you.
understand?
I hear
Yes,
you.
she would never just go on, because it's a big risk that you take, You're playing with a child's life. You understand? So when you go and lie down with 3 different men unprotected, and then you, the guest, sometimes she don't even know who.
Yeah.
You understand? She's not the guest game. So if she's a liberated woman, there's no way she could have kind of demean herself like that. You understand?
It's interesting that you should say that, because it was just yesterday we had, myself and a friend of mine had a long conversation about this. So it is obvious
Yes.
that this conversation is out there in the universe to be had. So thank you very
Yes.
much for actually saying that. One of the things that we really love with you, is that you're really brave and different for true. And you are revolutionary. What in your mind though? Because there are many people who say them revolutionary and them just not no manners. What in your mind is a revolutionary?
A revolutionary is someone who has integrity. The reason why I say that is because that you have to stand up to where your talk say. You understand? You can't say something around the corner here, and then by the time you go around the other corner, you have to say, I never saw. You have to bad enough to say, yeah, me did say so. You understand? And yeah, man, and if it's going to be a detriment to another person's life, but there are times when my grandmother used to say, you have to kind of think before you talk. Sometimes you can't just be out and out truthful in terms of protecting your life. But if you have to protect another person's life, man, be truthful, and it's not endangering you, be truthful.
Very much
A
so.
revolutionary, first and foremost, is someone who understands themselves and don't want to be nobody else.
But themselves.
Yes.
Beautiful. I love that. This is the kind of outspoken conversations that we need, because I always say, sissies, that we're living in a space which part is it's hardcore. And whether you want to believe it or not, it's hardcore. So sometimes in terms of conversing with our average Jamaican, the thing of a hardcore. And speaking about hardcore, me go play one of your poems, right? And this is one of the reasons why, in my mind, you remain relevant not just as a woman, but as a poet, and not just as a poet, but as someone who has been in this for a long time. So I'm going to give them language, but watch this now. In that meantime,
Sister Ellie,
yeah.
Sister Ellie. All right, here what now? It's a language.
Yeah.
We have part 1 and we have part 2, but before this program done, we're going to give language trilogy.
All right, so make we give them the part 1, because the part 1 may have.
Okay, part 2.
Me not sure. So here what we're going to do now, sis. Me go give them the one we me have. And you see, as soon as we come forward after that one here, you give them the one they live.
The language, no man, I'll give language trilogy.
All right, cool. Hold on, Nick. But I'm going to play this. And the point of me playing this is to show the influence that you have by, and also the influence that popular culture has on your writing. So here we go.
Remember when we used to paint pictures with words, using the tongue as the paintbrush? Each stroke was a different gesture, every sentence of its own color. No full stop, no comma. Animated stories used to move we. It's like you're watching a movie. Nowadays things change. Long story cut short. Them youths you not talk or tech talk. As you start a conversation, all you can hear is no say a word. Or where you are say daddy, yo dog, you don't know. We have the thing lock. Mad. Baby, we just born, I tell you them out and bad. Not just no one, not even God. Them no have no fear, sicker than the intensive care. If you diss them, they make you disappear. Give you a funeral in a this your ear. Blood cool, you feel a chill when them come near. No heart, just a block of ice. Have to eat a food, yeah, so nice.
Yes, and nice for true. And a whole heap of time I play the poem, you sis. And again, just like with the bad poem, I really need us to have a conversation about what it is that you're actually saying. Because sometimes, you know, the man them hear the thing about you're so nice, and it was a show about you're so nice, and the message fly over for them head long time. So so what's the message?
Right. We connected to the youth because me is a person where we're not trying to be young again, but I will forever remain youthful. You understand? So we connect to the youth them. We don't leave out the youth. We teach youth of all different age. And what we notice is like, them not talk again. Them not hold the conversation. You hear a man say, yeah, up top me Jenna. Yeah, chopper. You don't even know what that mean. You understand? So me, you know, it's three of them me have, you know. I'm telling you, when we use the slangs them, the modern slangs, and make a poem with it to connect back with the youth. It's like what me I do is reverse psychology. Mm-hmm. You get what me I say? Mm-hmm. So me I make them know, me I make them hear how them song. Mm-hmm. And hear it in such a way when we bring in the poetry into it. You understand? And twist it in such a way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but can I say something though, sis, as we're talking about people not talking again? You know, it's part of our culture because it's part of our culture, sis, because a long time I want to say you lie, and they must say no, me don't lie, and I say no, me mean a true you talk. Yeah, understand what I say to you? So we are that kind of people. Even like a whole heap of thing we can say for you know, whole heap of something. So so I guess it's part of our culture, and it's just that we dissecting it.
Yes.
All right, so give me a poem, the ones that you said you're going to give us.
All right, this is Language Trilogy. And it's basically a deal with now when it's a talk about, because we eyes open to everything. It says, this is not just another poem with some fancy lines. Dissect every word, read between the rhymes. New Year, same old problems. The world is getting wild. People corrupt. You have a spaceship. You have wings. You can fly. You're not afraid. In this current cultural climate, crime is a pandemic. No matter how serious the act, nobody no shock. It just become a 9-day wonder. No wonder we in this toxic state, trying to trick fate, clickbait, majoring in the minor. There is so much things to address, but we sit down and focus on Rihanna's dress. We put people's business and we mine, while economically the system robbing we blind. The way them deal with light and water bout ya, we soon have to dust off the home sweet home and start bathe down a river. And what do you? The system set up only to benefit the few. Check it. The real reason behind a traffic ticket is not to stop road accidents, it's to raise the revenue. And what do you? Politicians on the campaign trail will dramatize the things you want here. Before you swallow the bait, think twice. And for them go on when them nice. Me nah ask Christ. If them like sweet like them bathe in a honey, them only come around every 4 years with them little bit of money. The only solution is to work as a team. According to what me see, that will never happen. The idea is just a Martin Luther. I have a dream. The latest trend is parents trying to be their children's friends, neglecting their parental responsibility, depending on social media and artists to raise them. Discipline has become a relic of the past. Now we have a generation with no direction, floating like a paper boat in the ocean of confusion, living below their potential, squandering youthful energy. Youthful energy. Last year, man, was a year. Right now, me there confused. I don't even know which Netflix series to get the award. Whether it is Squaddy with the Roman Raisin documentary, or everybody want to touch off of me, the man will have the imaginary arc to be continued.
Look here, I don't have to ask if he's recently write this poem, because from me, most from me here. From me here, you're not afraid. I know, say I recently write it.
No, we're writing it long time, but we're putting different pieces into it.
Okay,
you understand?
okay.
We pick these relevant pieces where the next 10 years when you hear this poem, you will understand what was happening in the year 2021.
There you go.
Yes.
And trust me, you're so in touch. I know a lot of people think they're in touch, but let me tell you something. You see, if you're not in touch with the grassroots, you're not in touch, Trust me, you're not in touch, and at this, you're a thing there. You see, even when you mention even Rihanna dress, them the conversation, they are joke conversation, them there, because they're first of all, most of the youth them not see nothing wrong with her frock, and at the top of the day, I feed them world. You see me, I say to you. So it don't make no sense you tell her so she have on sensible shoes, because she's not going to put on it. You understand? So we just have to really be in touch with what I want, and that's your thing there. So my question to you next would be a young poet listening, right? And as you say, we're not trying to go on like we're young, but we have children and we have grandchildren, and we're still relating because we are alive. And some of the people, them who people feel like say, we're not for chat to, and them they will for chat to.
Yes. Because let me tell you something, you have to have a balance between the youth and the elders, If you don't have that balance, and what happens is that, as I say, I'm not try to be young, but I will continue to remain youthful.
Yes,
because,
absolutely.
let me tell you something, it don't make no sense I still be here and still act like, say, me senile. No, you have some people who don't senile and act like them senile. We have to know what is going on right around me. My eyes open, to the streets and everywhere. And sometimes the youth, them, want to hear something tangible from the elders. You can't just pass through. Because of my elders, I am who I am. You can't just pass through and just don't make no positive contribution or give the youth them something where them can hold on to.
Absolutely. And, let me tell you something, you see. I personally don't care how dysfunctional the youth is, You see, the more dysfunctional the youth is the more me need to have a reasoning with him or her. Yes. Straight up. So saying that to say this, though, for a young poet who doesn't just want to write poetry, but actually wants to make a career of it, what is your advice to them?
Well, I'm going to tell you the truth, Sister Elise. Poetry is something coming from the soul. You have to have something else that you do. Because if you don't do something else, you're going to be too hungry that you're not going to write full type of poetry. Mm-hmm. You understand? Mm-hmm. You're not going to write things that connect with people. So, yes, I wouldn't tell you money cannot come from poetry, but at the end of the day, don't write with that intention, or else you will miss the message. You understand? Because that's how we start write poetry, is to say something to the youth. Me write poetry, have the youth them sit down for Nannyville playing field. And make them listen, make them be my audience, and them listen to it. You understand? Mm-hmm. So everybody, the younger ones, them know we come round, not younger in age or anybody, but them kind of bit have a different approach to the poetry. So them don't even take time out to pay attention to my longevity in the poetry, or or motor. Them not pay no mind to that, and you understand? So them just want to say, boy, yeah, I want to go out there. As the body, my man want to be a star. I don't mind wake up the next morning and see him face on the front page of the Gleaner. You understand? But me not right for that. Mm-hmm. Me not right for that. Mm-hmm. So me would tell a youth to be passionate. You understand? Because poetry is about sincerity and passion. Mm-hmm. Just be passionate. Have something else where you can do to make some money and go on right.
I hear you. And isn't that
Sister,
life? Beauregard talking to you,
Go ahead.
sis. No, Beauregard talking to you, sis.
Yes,
Sister Cherry
Beauregard.
Natural, I was wondering, how do your poems develop? Is it usually from a line or just a word that pops up from you? How do you develop your poems?
Well, here what happens. To be a poet, I have several rules in my book in terms of how to write, to be a good writer. So one of them is gossip, eavesdrop. So me do a lot of eavesdropping, Me I walk my ears to the ground. So me I listen conversation, me I hear repeat. Sometimes me park and don't drive and take the bus. Because I want a real story. I want to know what the people saying, how them feel about certain topics. So sometimes it come like that. And then you have poems now where you have to research, because every writer must read. You can't be a writer and say you don't read. So me have a very huge library. So me more some of the poems I have to research it. Like I have a poem named Earth is Our Home, where I deal with the environment and climate change on an international level. And that poem was released in January 2020. Get some good earplay and things like that. And it's research, we go research for that poem there. You understand? Because you want to know what is climate change and what is the ozone and what is global warming, fossil fuel emission, So you want to know about that, so you go research.
We're going to take a break, and then when we come forward, I think this should be an interesting topic for all of us, because Still She Rise, famed poet Maya Angelou was featured on a U.S. quarter. And it's relevant to you, it's relevant to me, and it's certainly relevant to those listening from the tri-state. So we're going to take a break, and then when we come forward, you can put your spin on it also, Beauregard, please and thanks, all right?
No problem.
We have live online Sister Cherry Natural, and of course, we're streaming live to the tri-state, and we also have live online Beauregard. So Beauregard, what has the reaction been to the fact that the poet Maya Angelou is featured on the U.S. quarter? What has been the reaction your side? Yeah, sorry about that. Beauregard, you there? Yellow. He's still on a break. Oh, okay. He's still on a break. Okay, sis. So you're still there, sis, right?
Still here.
All right. What is your response to that?
I am just learning of it.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I'm just learning of it. So I will go and seek it out and, read on it.
Okay, wonderful.
I think it's a wonderful thing.
All right.
I think, yes.
Yes. So, Beauregard, you here with us now?
Yes, I'm here.
I was just asking Sister Cherry Natural, she's going to investigate it and then she will respond at another time. But what has been the general response of people in the States about Maya Angelou being featured on the U.S. quarter?
Well, it's all over the news. It happened yesterday evening. They started sending out the quarters to banks all across the United States. Big ups to Maya Angelou. Still she rise, even in death. She's still making moves, and we say big respect for her becoming the first black woman featured on a U.S. quarter. And it's the first in a series of coins designed to celebrate the accomplishments of American women. And it's been all over the news. Everybody has been celebrating her on social media and all the platforms that I've seen on all the news platforms. It's been in all the news, mainstream media news. So everybody is really happy about it. We're basically waiting now to see who else is going to join this series of quarters that they're putting out.
Right. Wonderful. Sister Cherry Natural?
Yes.
I know that you've done a poem on COVID-19.
Yes.
I'm not sure if we have time for you to do it, but what I would really love to know is what are your thoughts on COVID-19 in terms of turning this lemon into lemonade?
All right, here what happened. The whole idea is nothing new, We had all of this, but maybe in our generation we never see anything like this. So the whole idea is that you only can get stronger. But what I realize is that things that we used to take for granted, now we're going to have a greater appreciation for it, like just something simple as a hug. You understand?
So
Yeah, and
true.
people, yeah, mentally we are stressed, you know, and right now we don't even have a shoulder to cry on. So that,
Absolutely.
yes, those are things that we used to take for granted. So we're going in, and you know, it's going to pass. It will
Yes.
pass because
Yes.
it's not the first. If you really go back into history, and even with the Spanish flu and you know a lot of the other things, you realize that it's going to pass. So after everything passes, you must come out a better human being with inspiration to inspire because people going to need inspiration.
There you go. I'm not sure how long your poem is, but could you just even give us an excerpt from your COVID-19 poem?
The COVID-19, it's called Every Day is Halloween. And just as COVID started around a couple of months after, we did this poem. So let me just, all right, it says, I'm trying to connect the dots and fill in the gaps, but the questions in my head won't stop. Was it developed in a lab, or is it an act of God? The religious folks claimed it's prophetic. The conspiracy theorists and the doubtful Thomases says it's not a pandemic. A plan it to make the whole planet panic. They are tirelessly working around the clock to pick the padlocks off Pandora's box, boxing within the framework of a corrupt system. So many boxes, don't know what to believe in. The only thing making sense is who have the patent determine who will be the physicians and who will be the patient. Trick or treating. This is like nothing we have ever seen. Since COVID-19, we are all dressed in the same costume. Every day is Halloween. Every day is Halloween. Wash your hands, keep your distance, wear a mask, mask the fears, quarantine.
Thank you so very much, my sister. It is always a pleasure talking to you. And one of the
Yes.
beautiful things about a revolutionary is that his or her mind always remains open. And as a result of that, always relevant. Continue to
Give
stay
thanks.
relevant, my sister.
And give thanks, and I must say congratulations to your program, you know. Trust me.
Thank you,
We
sis.
needed this. We needed this to fill the gap. So continue move from strength to strength, you know. Give thanks.
Thank you so very much, my sis. Beauregard, is there anything else you want to say?
No, just thank you, and continue to go forward and do what you're doing, Sister Cherry Natural. The world appreciates it.
Thank you, Beauregard. Did I pronounce his name
problem.
properly?
Yes, yes.
It's nice to leave with a laugh, don't it?
Absolutely. All right,
Yeah,
sis. Have a good rest of
All
the
right,
day.
take good care. Yeah, man. Give
All
thanks.
right. Yes. Okay. We have so many things that we could talk about, but Thursday, most high willing, we will talk about all the things that we didn't get a chance to talk about. All right? You,
No
Beauregard.
problem.
All right. Yeah. All right. Cool. So thank you very
Take care.
much. Bless up the tri-state area. Bless up all those listening on the IRA Jam. And of course, it's on 155. So we're kind of running out of time. So it's that time in the afternoon when we say thank you very much to the Untengle team. And of course, the Untangle team. Oh my goodness! Before we do that, though, the listeners, sis, let me call you back. All right, the listeners are loving it. Hold on, let me pick me. I'll call you back when I get off of the air. Right. So let me see what. Lovey Cherry Natural with a whole heap of hearts back at that. All right, I love that. And then this one says, bless up the bad poet. Great reasoning. Thank you very much for that also. Thank you very much for listening. Want to say enough respect to all our listeners on all the platforms, whether you're listening on the frequencies, if you're listening on the internet, if you're listening on the stream here now, we just want to say thank you very much. Enough love and respect to the Untangle team. Enough respect to Richard Rainford, who is our master control operator, who was our master control operator in the morning, and Kevin Williams, who is our master control operator now. Romaine worked this morning, and of course, it's wonderful to have Vaughn with us again. Thank you very much, producer. And of course, we look forward to doing this all over again on Thursday.